Hello there and thanks for joining us. We start with a snapshot of what we have coming up. Rwanda and Japan have signed a $22 million aid agreement. Also during the World Circular Economic Forum, Rwanda Ministry of Environment launched a program intent on transforming biodegradable waste into employment opportunities. And different agricultural institutions say that technology is essential for the development of the sector. Thanks for choosing RTV News. We are live from our studios in Kigali, Rwanda. I am Isabel Masozera. Now, top of our edition, Rwanda and Japan have signed a $22 million aid agreement. This agreement will facilitate the Inhora Remera project to provide clean water to residents of Kigali city. Take a look. Some of the residents of Kigali city say they have been challenged by lack of reliable water. There's no water here and we're near the water source, so we buy it at 50 Rwanda francs.
When we go to fetch water, they charge us 100 Rwanda francs for a jerrycan. But when we don't get it from the water source, we get it at 50 Rwanda francs.
In a bid to solve the problem of water shortage, the government of Japan has offered the government of Rwanda a $22 million grant. The grant will help different parts of Kigali have access to water. Rwanda's Minister of Finance and Economic Planning says that the grant will provide a sustainable solution to the problem of water shortage. Part of the mandate is water distribution and infrastructure that will ensure no shortage of water. However, the project also seeks to ensure that the problem of water shortage is solved in a sustainable way.
This project will focus on the construction of distribution blocks in the north central Kigali to reduce the physical losses in the water supply, including distribution networks and service connections. Your Excellency, as you know, water is life, and Rwanda has committed in our national strategy for transformation to ensure universal access to water. And on behalf of the government, I want to sincerely thank the government of Japan for this important contribution to the achievement of this.
The diplomatic relationship between Japan and Rwanda dates back to 60 years. And apart from the clean water distribution support, Japan has cooperated with Rwanda on various projects. The Japanese ambassador to Rwanda says Rwanda is a very strategic choice.
I personally identified Rwanda as a very, very strategic point of African continent for Japanese investors and contractors and financiers to come in because of the transparency of the governance of the government of Rwanda, hospitality in general of people in business sector, and the willingness to accommodate foreign companies.
The funding is said to be used to buy equipment that will facilitate bringing clean water to people and distribute it in areas of Gisozi, Kinyinya, Remera, and many other places in a bid to ensure that by 2024, every village in Rwanda has access to clean water. Now, moving on, during the World Circular Economy Forum, Rwanda's Ministry of Environment launched a program intent on transforming biodegradable waste into employment opportunities, which has been perceived by the private sector as an incentive to attract investors and foster technical advancement. We go to Precious Kirezi for more.
Waste collection companies use designated trucks that transform the waste into fertilizer or plastic construction materials. Frequent players in waste management have pointed out that doing it the traditional way lengthens the process, further contributing to their low incomes.
These people pick up trash, and that often includes broken glass, broken lamps, poison, toxic materials like car batteries, and so on. We are all after income, but we care about people's lives as well. Fertilizer production took 6 months, but technology has lessened it to 15 days.
Rwanda banned the use of plastic bags in 2007, and another program forbidding the use of plastics was implemented in 2019. Rwanda has in addition launched the National Circular Economy Plan and Roadmap, a recycling program embarked on by the Minister of Environment. How do we make objects of environmental pollution productive? This program fosters a circular economy and the sense that nothing stays polluted if you make it productive. Waste comes in different forms, and recycling reduces air and environmental pollution by 45%. Delegates of the forum are of the view that investing in waste management not only keeps air pollution low, but also creates jobs, making it a good prospect.
I think waste management and circular economy are sometimes a little bit confused, but at the same time it's a low-hanging fruit if it comes to the circular economy. I think more and more countries, so I definitely think there are things going on in the region about waste management and circular economy. But let's also think about from the start, from the system, and how can we design out waste and pollution from the first place, also by changing our systems.
Furthermore, experts maintain that countries, especially in Africa, ought to invest in waste management and programs that foster advanced knowledge for the private sector's key players. Precious Sidazi, RTV News.
In more news, different agriculture institutions say that technology is essential for development of that particular sector. We go to Prince Manzi for more.
Some of the people in the agricultural sector say that the use of technology could impact highly the development of this sector.
Technology is one of the basics for the increase of the production. This is done through irrigation, and one can irrigate a large plot without using many employees. Another thing is about machines introduced in agriculture. Technology also facilitates us to access markets.
We have an app that helps young people to gain agricultural skills. You can learn how to cultivate potatoes. We publish all the information that can help citizens in the implementation of agricultural projects. On the other hand, the Minister of Agriculture and Animal Resources, Dr. Gerardine Mukeshimana, states that there is still a lot to be done.
Nowadays, people are aware on how to use phones in sharing information. What we want is farmers to exceed that level and use phones to acquire skills that help them in what they do. Mobile phones facilitate in the selling of additives, fruits, assurances, market information, and many others are found on these phones.
The Assistant Representative of Food and Agriculture Organization in Rwanda, Dr. Otto Vianney Muhinda, states that in the world vast in technology, the agricultural sector should not be left behind.
A
farmer should know what he cultivates in accordance to how he'll be able to find its market in the next year, the amount of fertilizers to use for him to have enough production, and know where to distribute it. For the one who reaped tomatoes, the technology would facilitate him to know where they are needed, for him to take them there, and also the use of technology in determining the number of tons needed in a certain country. The Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources, the Food and Agriculture Organization, and the World Bank organized discussions with more than 150 participants to analyze measurements that would favor the development of the agricultural sector. The Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources states that the agricultural sector comprises of more than 70% of Rwandans and occupies 30% of the country's GDP. 80% of people in this sector in Rwanda say that it is productive. Prince Manzi, RTV News.
Thank you, Prince. Now, Monday saw the start of the Rwanda Mining Expo Week at the Kigali Conference and Exhibition Village. The event is jointly curated by Rwanda Mines Petroleum and Gas Board in partnership with Rwanda Mining Association and the University of Rwanda, College of Science and Technology, School of Mining and Geology, and it consists of a 4-day exhibition, panel discussions, academic lectures, a visit to a mine site, and training sessions on legal compliance, safety standards, and the best mining practices. The event will draw together mining operators, government institutions, academia, and the private sector, as well as civil society. Exhibitors are keen to show that there's a lot more to mining than extracting minerals.
You know, when people think about a mining company, they think it's just about going underground, digging, blasting, and taking out rock, and then processing it and turning it into some kind of a mineral. Mining is a lot more than just that, right? And you know, you cannot survive as a mining company if you don't do things in a sustainable fashion. What we do is we have 5,000 employees, we train employees. We've taken a lot of our old artisanal miners and we've converted them into our full-time employees now. And we also do things in an environmentally friendly way. And what we've tried to do and show you at this display today is that, you know, we work with our communities, we've got community projects, we do a lot of environmental restoration work, and we actually engage with our people, because through the engagement we can build a strong company. So it's not just about going underground and taking out the rock. That's just the end product. You've got to do all the other things properly to be able to do this in a successful way in the long term.
Still on mining, on Monday, during the celebration of the International Mining Day, Rwanda Mines, Gas and Petroleum Board launched the Rwanda Mining Week, which is scheduled to take place from the 5th to the 8th December. Now, in an exclusive interview, the Chief Executive Officer of the Rwanda Mines, Gas and Petroleum Board, Ambassador Yamina Karitanyi, elaborated on the key activities to be expected during the week.
Thank you very much. As you know, we had the launch of Rwanda Mining Week, or International Miners Day, yesterday, starting with the launch itself, the opening of the week. We had panel discussions. Of course, the event was graced by the Right Honourable Prime Minister, who opened the Mining Week. We had hundreds of industry players, from those involved in exploration, mining, trading, and the supporting services around mining. And of course, we have quarries as well. So they are represented this week. We want to be responsible citizens. In fact, the theme this year has been towards a modern and sustainable mining sector. And we want to walk the talk. We want to be able to do all we can, of course, in partnership with other stakeholders, to ensure that we are doing our part in not only raising revenues, because it is an important sector that is part of driving the Rwandan economy. So the other point that has been exciting is the opening of the exhibition. I'm hoping you've managed to go through the exhibition to see the variety that the sector offers, from exploration all the way to trading on the international market, to show what, in a way, demystifying the mining sector, showing not only the technology side, but also the end product, the jewelry, the beautiful jewelry that you've seen exhibited. So it's an opportunity to show Rwandans why mining is important and why mining well, responsibly, is important for the sake of the country.
Well, regarding to these environmental conservation policies that were established by the government of Rwanda to safeguard the environment preservation as well. For you as mining sector, how far are the implementation of enhancing this sector towards proper working condition and this environmental preservation as well?
Environmental protection is a journey. And I say that because not only should we focus on the current mining licenses, what's happening now, and ensuring that protection of the environment is ongoing. It's not something you do once you have finished mining on that site. But we're also tackling another challenge, which has to do with historical mines, those that were mines even pre-colonial times and were left abandoned. So we have to look at ways to ensure that that also is managed, as well as fighting another issue within the sector, which is illegal mining. There are mines that are being mined that have no owner, and that makes it very difficult, because when you have an owner, you have a contract with that owner. The institution signs a contract with those who have mining licenses, and we abide by the content of what's in the contract, including a very important part which has to deal with environmental protection.
Then, heading to the end of this interview, Ambassador, what could be your comment on the current status of mining sector when you observe its contribution to the GDP and even the goals set in NS1?
So we are excited about the trajectory of mining. If I look at the numbers from 2017, which stood at about 373 million in terms of export revenues, increased to more than double of that in 2020, reached $733 million US. We've taken a dip last year due to price fluctuations, but we are now back up on a good standing. Numbers this year, 2022, from January to September, we have registered in export revenues amounting to $585 million US. And the year obviously has not been completed, and we haven't accounted for the last quarter. So we're seeing an improvement, and we know that next year will be even better, given what we're seeing in the market in terms of increased export and also increased prices of some of the minerals that are being exported. So we are excited. Beyond the 3 Ts that we're exporting, tins, tantalum, and tungsten, we're also exporting significant numbers of gold and gemstones. And the variety is only increasing as we do more exploration and more demands of key minerals moving forward. So we're excited. We see this sector only playing even a more important role in our GDP. And we, again, plan to increase our revenues by looking at better mineral processes, which will increase our quantities, but also better pricing on the international market. The one key point that I wish to raise is the need for stakeholders' engagement. Beyond the government, which has been very supportive, we also need the private sector at large to play a better role. One of such roles should be played by our banking sector, for example, to better support the mining sector. As you know, pre-financing, so as when we trade, the pre-financing usually comes from foreign actors. It would be important for us to find ways to involve our banking sector so that monies keep turning in country and not just exiting the country. So we're hoping that this week is a good presentation of not only the current status of the mining sector, but will give an opportunity to other stakeholders to find their niche in supporting this sector to grow even better and quicker, so that next year, when we meet again in December, we have much more achievement.
So I think we can set this conversation to an end, as I really appreciate Ambassador Yamina Karitanyi, the Chief Executive Officer of Rwanda Mining, Gas and Petroleum Board. Ambassador, thank you for this moment.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Special thanks to RBA's Adams Kwizera. They are speaking to Ambassador Yamina Karitanyi. It looks like a promising future for Rwanda's mining sector. We now move on. Delegates from Poland's economic sector have signed various agreements with different institutions here in Rwanda, such as the Rwanda Development Board, universities and colleges. We now go to Betty Mutoni for the details.
A memorandum of understanding signed between Rwanda and Polish investment and trade agents with the purpose of promoting business between the two countries, but also sharing of information concerning different investments. This partnership will also be a solution to some of the challenges faced in the business sector.
The most of the big challenge is actually capital, but now with the new investors, because you know Poland is somehow developed than these African countries. So we believe that with the partnership with our local investors, they are able to bring in the capital. The second challenge again is mainly the issue of experience, and therefore this partnership will really strengthen our investment sector.
The Executive Vice President of Polish Investment and Trade Agency noted that there should be such partnership and more investments for the country to develop in different sectors.
Important. You see, we have very similar history. We have a very similar position because our success, economic success, was very similar in your success. For us, it's nice future. I think it will be a lot of possibilities for use our experience and our position in Africa. We are open for cooperation. I think today we start our formally activities. From tomorrow, we will start practice action.
In education, 4 Poland universities have already signed agreements with the Rwanda Polytechnic and Ines Ruhengeri, and this partnership will help in the improvement of quality of education in Rwanda, as it is explained by the Rwandan Minister of Education, Dr. Valentine Uwamariya. We are going to focus on science and technology, even agriculture, because as you all know, they are the largest sector in the country that want to educate many, because we want to build an economy based on knowledge. Poland has very good universities. That's where we want to put efforts to improve the knowledge of Rwandans, who will return to build economy based on the knowledge. That's our main focus, but also research. It is not only teaching and learning, but you have to make research on what can benefit Rwanda and Poland. The signed memorandum of understanding in education sector will also help the Rwandans who want to go to study in Poland. The Polish delegates, led by Mr. Paweł Jablonski, Deputy Minister of the Foreign Affairs, also visited Rwanda Defense Force and had a discussion with the Minister of Defense, Major General Albert Mulasira, on ways of strengthening defense cooperation and signed an agreement on defense industries cooperation. Betty Mutoni, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Betty. Now, experts say that it is essential to develop infrastructure in rural areas of Rwanda that favors job creation. And now we go to Prince Manzi for more.
Across the country, there is the increase of infrastructures like houses and business centers that impacts the development of lives of the citizens.
Actually, residents here had no employment. They used to cultivate with nothing to reap. But now there is an increase in infrastructural development, and some of us are constructing houses. And as ladies, we have restaurants, and people would come and eat. You can see that there is development. When there is business center, life becomes simple. So I prefer to work here and I can see the benefits.
We lack only the tarmac road. All the other things are available: water, hardware stores. It is possible to get something to do and earn 1,000 for eating. They used to say Gashusha, and one would hear it is a rural place with no movements of cars, but now even a bike takes you from one place to another for 300 Rwandan francs. Emmanuel Nigena is an online businessman, and he plans of employing to more than 100 people, adding to the 50 employees he had. This service is also needed in other places. There are those with houses, plots and cars that are on sale in provinces, and they find that they want to sell them as fast as possible. So people need to understand that it is not only needed in Kigali, but instead in all parts of the country, and the market might increase to the international level. In May 2022, the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda demonstrated that the unemployment rate reduced by 7.3% to 16.5% from 23.8% in November 2021. Expert in the employment sector, Ramukunzi, stated that there are different reasons as to why people in cities do not have jobs. He points out that it is not important for rural areas to be transformed into cities. Instead, the introduction of infrastructures is essential. We still have a lot to do to develop our rural areas, for them to be areas that generate higher revenues, areas that have advanced infrastructures that attracts people to come and live there, as well as introducing new jobs. When I see how it was done in other nations, rural areas continue to be rural but developed. It is also possible here. The Ministry of Local Government report, based on the 5th Integrated Household Living Conditions Survey, demonstrates that 24.5% of families are poor. Poverty is highly found in farmers with a 42% rate. 18% of Rwandans in cities, 7% are poor. For Kigali City, with 13% of Rwandans, the poor are 5% of the total number of the poor in the country. Rwanda's goal is to have 35% of Rwandans living in cities by 2035, from 18.4% in 2017. Prince Manzi, RwandaTV News.
That we come to the end of our bulletin today. I am Isabel Masozera, and on behalf of the entire broadcast team here at RBA, thanks for watching, and do keep it RTV.